Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 14-day Couch to Pilates Princess Challenge. I'm Lana. I have been a Pilates instructor for over 7 years and a Pilates teacher trainer for 5, as well as a physiotherapist assistant. So my qualifications for this challenge are A+. I'm going to try to speak in human terms, not physiotherapy and Pilates terms. But the goal of this is to get you comfortable and confident in doing Pilates, whether it be at home or in studio. You'll know what you're doing, so you won't have imposter syndrome, and it will feel good in your body, not pinchy or nervy. Without further ado, let's start lying down. We're going to start low and pump up the volume. So each day will get a little harder, but the first 3 will be nice and chill. So come down, get comfy, cozy. And we're just going to go into 3 types of breath. In Pilates, we utilize 3 types of breath when it comes to movement. The first breath is going to be into the rib cage. As you inhale, I want you to expand your ribs out wide. And as you exhale, release your ribs. So a lot of times when I cue this in class, people will try to breathe up. I want you to come into the sides. The next breath is going to go into the belly. As you inhale, I want you to push your belly up to the ceiling. One more. The third breath is where we're going to start this section of the class, and it is into your pelvic floor. So as you inhale, I want you to imagine your breath widens your pelvis on the mat. And as you exhale, I want you to feel your breath release from the pelvis up, softening the body. One more. Good. We're going to keep the breath in the pelvic floor, but this time, as you inhale, I want your pelvis to stay neutral. And then as you exhale, you're going to tuck and roll your tailbone towards you and your low back onto the mat. My arms are up here just so you can see the range of motion through my pelvis. Otherwise, I want you to keep your arms down by your sides. So inhale, widen. Exhale, release and draw the pelvis into you, keeping the glutes on the mat. Good. We're just lengthening and releasing that low back. Now, bring your spine into its natural curve. That's your neutral spine. And again, if you don't know where it is, just take a few rocks and your spine will naturally fall into that space. Your hands are going to come down by your sides. As you exhale, I want you to round your shoulders away from you, press through your triceps and press into the palms. Just go about 5%. Inhale, soften. Exhale, gently press through the back of the arm. Inhale, soften. Now notice when you do this, are your ribs popping up towards the ceiling? And can you try to keep your ribs heavy towards the mat? And you'll feel your core turn on as you work both. For 3. One more. Awesome. Now, as you exhale, you're going to tuck and roll your pelvis up into a bridge. And I want you pressing through the arms just like we did. And then as you inhale, hold it up here. And then exhale, walk your spine down. Try to not drop your glutes until you cannot lower any longer. Inhale, fully release into neutral. And then exhale, tuck, reach your knees to the opposite side of the room, pull your heels to your glutes. Inhale here. Exhale, walk it down. Good. And again, I want you pressing into the heel of your palm, your wrist, your tricep, and your shoulders, because that's going to give you better access to your pelvic floor and not allow your hamstrings to fully take the weight and cramp. On this next one, we're going to stay up in that bridge. Good. Pull your head off of your shoulders and then think about your hips pulling off of your ribs and your heels pulling to your glutes. So feel the length that you just created through the front of the body and the activation that you just created through the back of the body while decompressing your spine. As you inhale, I want you to drop your hips all the way down to the mat. Exhale, lift up. Try to move your ribs and your hips at the same time. For 3, for 2, and then on this next one, come to relax onto the mat. Take a second, rock your knees out. So we just released the spine so that you can sit here and feel good through your low back and your ribs. And now we're going to start to work your deep core. Meet your core. Spine is in neutral. If it doesn't feel good in neutral, you can tuck your pelvis onto the mat. Ideally, we don't love that because when you have your spine in its natural curve, it helps build your core to support you throughout life. But if it doesn't feel too good, you can take a towel, slide the towel into the natural arch, or you can tuck your pelvis a little bit, keeping the breath in the pelvic floor. As you inhale, I want you to butterfly your knees open. And as you exhale, gently and slowly draw in so you feel a quiver through the inner thighs. A lot of times people will go really fast here and you're actually losing the benefit of the deep core when you go fast. So the slower you go, the more you'll feel your core connect and the less your legs will work. One more. Nice. Your arms are going to come up to the sky, reach them as high as you can, and then drop them down. We're just releasing all the tension through the shoulders so that they can move properly. And you're also beginning to understand where your shoulders should be. So you don't want them gripping through the pecs. You want them to be where they naturally fall. One more. We're going to hold it here. As you inhale, I want you to reach your arms back behind you. And then as you exhale, pull them back in. Now, when your arms reach back behind you, can you watch that your ribs don't reach towards the ceiling? So immediately your core turns on. And then as you exhale, can you imagine your belly button pulls your arms up and find that connection to your core rather than just whipping the arms in and out? Inhale, lengthen, breathe into the back of your ribs. Exhale, gently draw the ribs in, nice and slow. Two more. Working your posture, working your core and your ribs. That breath is in the ribs. One more. Bring your hands all the way down. Pick your right knee up and then drop it down. Pick your left knee up and then drop it down. Now notice as you do this, where do you feel it? Is your spine crunching in and opening? Try to keep your hips stable. Think about widening through the hips. And then when you pick your knee up, plug your knee into the back of the glute. And if you have trouble finding it, push your knee down and you'll feel that connection. And then inhale to lower. So exhale, use your core, pick your knee up into your glute. Inhale, slowly and gently release it. Again, the faster you go here, the more you get quad and low back, and the slower, the more control connecting to your breath, the deeper into your core you get. Now, I'm a rib bracer, so my ribs are popped up. I need to soften my ribs. If you switch your breath, that is okay. We're gonna go one more on the left. Let's pick that left knee up. Good. Pick your right knee up. In this position, you do want to bring your low back onto the mat, but what you don't want is your knees in your ribs or your belly button. You want your knees to come into the center of your pelvic floor so you feel your deep core turn on. Working through the back of the arms, pull your shoulders back and away from you without letting your ribs pop up. Inhale, toe tap. Exhale, core pulls to the mat to bring the knee in. So we're just advancing that marching motion. Good. Now we're going to bring the arms up to the sky. Again, reach as high as you can. Allow them to drop. This is where you want your arms to start and finish. As you inhale, you're going to reach the left toe out, right arm out. I want you to focus on your back on the mat. And then as you exhale, imagine your belly button pulls them back in. Your shoulder into the socket, your knee into your hip. Inhale, other side. Exhale, use that release breath and draw in. The inhale is going to help protect your back on this mat. The exhale is going to try to release the grip while activating the core. One more on the right. And then one more on the left. Perfect. Let's keep the knees up, bring the arms down, roll the shoulders again back and away from you, and then soften your back onto the mat. As you inhale, I want you to kick your right leg straight out, feel a reach through the quad. As you exhale, flex the toes, pull the knee back in. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, flex, pull it back in. You should be shaking if you're doing it right. If you're going too fast and using momentum, you won't find the stabilizing muscles and you won't find that quiver. Arms are active. One more on the right. And one more on the left. Good. Hug your knees into your chest if you can. Otherwise, rock your knees side to side, but take whatever feels best for your body. Bring the feet back onto the mat, hip distance. And then again, just rock out your spine so you can find where your spine naturally wants to sit. Hands are going to come behind your head, and then your elbows come into your peripherals, and you want to keep them here. You want to refrain from shortening your pecs. Tuck the chin to lengthen the back of the neck into your hands. And then as you exhale, lift from your heart and your ribs up. Inhale, lower down. Now I'm only going as high as I can without dropping into my low back. So I'm just moving from my mid back up, keeping my lower back and my pelvis still. For 5, 4, can't stop shaking from all of my small muscles. 2, awesome. And now we're going to bring what we just did into this. You're going to work both your pelvic floor and your upper core. You want your knee to come up into tabletop, and again, not into the belly. I will allow that in a second. But first, as you exhale, pick your right knee up into tabletop, check your pelvis, make sure it's centered, and then lower down. Left knee. Good. Notice how I'm not coming up so high and I'm not tucking in. I'm keeping the length through my upper body while working my lower core and my upper core. Now, as you get comfortable, make sure your neck is not leading. You're still coming from the heart and the ribs. Okay, we're going to work it out. So now the spine is going to be able to relax. As you exhale, curl up and twist to that left elbow, right knee. Inhale, lower. Right elbow, left knee. Lower. Good. Okay, now curl up and twist to that right knee, and then inhale, straighten your spine, kick your right leg out. Flex your toes, pull it back in. Inhale, kick it out. Good. If you want to relax your head in between, you're more than welcome. We're going for 2 more. Nice. Come all the way back to center. You can relax down or stay up. Shake out your neck. Inhale to twist. Shake out your neck. Exhale to twist. Inhale, kick the leg straight out. Exhale. Inhale. Good. If you want to relax your head, you can. You only have 3. Keep your chest wide. Move from the ribs. 1 more. Good. Come all the way down. Take a second. Just breathe into your belly and then release it. Roll over onto your stomach. And we're just going to stretch out the core a little bit. Elbows go out nice and wide. Hands under shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, drop. I'm not going too high. And then you can push yourself all the way up into a child's pose. Really good job on day 1. I hope you found your core, and I hope that felt really nice on your back. See you tomorrow.